Well, for more, let's cross now to correspondent Kethevane Gorjestani in Washington. Kethevane, the U.S. president making those remarks en route to a trip to Texas.
Yes, and he spoke again, actually, to reporters. This soundbite that you just played, that was as he was leaving the White House. And then there was another one on the base before boarding Air Force One, where he was asked by a reporter from the pool whether he felt any responsibility for what happened on January 6th. And he answered that he repeated that quote about not wanting any violence, but he said that everyone had analyzed his speech. That was referring to the video that he put out after the violence. And he said that everyone had analyzed the speech and that everyone to a T said that it was totally appropriate. This, of course, as a lot of lawmakers, especially Democrats, but also several Republicans who were once some of his staunchest allies, have come out and criticized Donald Trump very harshly for his behavior, for his response to the violence, and for taking so long and for not using the right words to condemn the violence at the Capitol. But Donald Trump is sticking to his guns, doubling down, and speaking to his base again.
8 more days until the inauguration, Kethevane. He's still the commander-in-chief unless that long-shot attempt by Congress to remove him from office succeeds. So what does that mean for security in the build-up to the inauguration?
Well, everyone in Washington, D.C. Is really on high alert, and there are, of course, several authorities. There are up to 28 different jurisdictions in Washington, D.C., and everyone is gearing up for what could be a very tense week ahead, not just the inauguration day, but all the days leading up to it, because the FBI and several other law enforcement agencies have now officially and publicly said that they had credible threats of attacks on Washington and specifically on the United States Capitol, starting from January 16th all the way to January 20th, the day of the inauguration. And so law enforcement is gearing up. The National Guard says that they will have 15,000 members deployed in the nation's capital. The FBI will be on hand. The D.C. Metro Police will also be on hand. Donald Trump signed, at the request of the D.C. mayor, an emergency declaration in order to provide more resources, more funds, more equipment to the city of Washington in order to guarantee security. Of course, security around the Capitol where that inauguration will take place, but also throughout this week for lawmakers who are receiving very credible and direct death threats. And they have been briefed by law enforcement officials as to how to protect themselves, how to protect their families. And they even said that they received an email reminding them that if they buy things to protect themselves, including bulletproof vests, that could be considered as an expense and they could be reimbursed for buying a bulletproof vest. This is where we are in Washington, D.C. in 2021.
And just very briefly, Kethevane, the FBI announcing more arrests over last Wednesday's storming of the Capitol.
Yes, the arrests keep trickling in pretty much every day. There's a nationwide manhunt going on. But now there is a focus on what happened exactly in the Capitol and the role that Capitol Police played in letting that riot happen. At least 2 Capitol Police officers have been suspended. At least 10 more, possibly even 15, are being investigated for their role in what happened, because there have been videos and pictures coming out of Capitol Police looking like they were helping out, or at least actively not preventing these people from coming into the Capitol. And of course, lawmakers want to know whether in their midst there are people who helped out with that Capitol riot. And so that is something that they're really focusing on. Another thing to note is that law enforcement agencies in at least 5 states are also looking at the participation of several of their their own officers who went to Washington, and there have been several law enforcement officers who have been suspended and who are being investigated for their role in what happened on January 6th.
Kethevane Gorjestani, many thanks for that.